Alright, as the ice cream truck goes by and I restrain the urge to run after it, squealing, holding up my money for some lovely ice cream treats, let's do a little bookshelf tour. Um, this is actually going to be another single author one again. This is going here. Let's start off with the big book, for me at least, which is Alberto Manguel's A History of Reading, which I really enjoyed, obviously, which I ended up with the hardcover of. I think Alberto Manguel he was living in Canada and doing really great essays on bookish essays, which as a bookworm you definitely enjoy. And he had kind of like the romance of that sort of stuff. I think he's somebody who knew Jorge Borges and read to him. I think that was a part of his thing of what he did when Borges was had gone blind, and it's just somebody who seems to be like really infused with literature and infused with kind of deep kind of learning on literature. A History of Reading is a rich and wonderful book, a treasury of knowledge, stories, and illustrations that takes us on an unforgettable journey, infinitely engaging and amusing, a sweeping exploration of what it means to be a reader of books. A History of Reading is a brilliant reminder of why we cherish the act of reading, despite the distractions from the Inquisition to the lures of cyberspace. Alberto Manguel is a lover of books and reading, and he brings a lover's delight and enthusiasm, passion, and delicate care to his history of reading. His stories take us across a breathtaking range of time and experience. And yeah, he's somebody who, and I just thought he had just like kind of a lovely way of turning a phrase, I think, as well. If you're going to have someone who is going to kind of discourse on literature and reading on that kind of a level, you'd like somebody who can put his words together, unlike this channel, which is why you get this for free. And Alberto Manguel, you got to pay up for. The last page. One hand limp by his side, the other to his brow, the young Aristotle languidly reads a scroll unfurled on his lap, sitting on a cushioned chair with his feet comfortably crossed, holding a pair of clip glasses over his bony nose. A turbaned and bearded Virgil turns the pages of a rubricated volume in a portrait painted 15 centuries after the poet's death. Resting on a wide step, his right hand gently holding his chin, Saint Dominic is absorbed in the book he holds unclasped on his knee, deaf to the world. Two lovers, Paolo and Francesca, are huddled under a tree reading a line of verse that will lead them to their doom. Paolo, like Saint Dominic, is touching his chin with his hand. Francesca is holding the book open, marking with 2 fingers a page that will never be reached. On their way to medical school, 2 Islamic students from the 12th century stop to consult a passage in one of the books they are carrying. Pointing to the right-hand page of a book open on his lap, the child Jesus explains his reading to the elders in the temple, while they, astonished and unconvinced, vainly turn the pages of their respective tomes in search of refutation. So that is him talking about all these kind of illustrations of readers over time. And reading that makes me want to pick up the book and read it again. So yeah, Alberto Manguel, definitely one of these people that I've really enjoyed his books. He also did anthologies. I have Blackwater, the anthology of fantastic literature, which is just a wonderful book. A lot of Latin American writers in here that I discovered for the first time and should continue to discover, finding their translations. Alberto Manguel is really good at as an anthologist of unearthing stuff. He also did one of kind of gay literature called Meanwhile in Another Part of the Forest or something like that. Meanwhile in the Forest, which was kind of lovely as well, and its erotic kind of connotations. He also did this isn't Alberto Manguel. He edited this. This is on Lying in Bed and Other Essays by G.K. Chesterton, just a lovely kind of collection of his essays, mngl being an essayist himself. In the back of the pages of, I think it's Geist magazine, is where I read a lot of those essays and really enjoyed them. He also did, this is I think the last mngl that I have at least collected here, where I of course immediately lost the dust cover, is is the Dictionary of Imaginary Places, which has entries of all the imaginary places that you might find in things. And this is Alberto Manguel and Gianni Guadalupe. Of course, they've got it done in such kind of fine little text work that I can't. In the winter of 1977, Gianni Guadalupe, with whom I had collected an anthology of true and false miracles for a Parmesan publisher, suggested that we prepare a short beddecker or traveler's guide to some of the places of literature. He was thinking at the time of a guided tour of Paul Fauvel's vampire city, Selene. Excited by the idea, it did not take us long to compile a list of other places we would like to visit. Shangri-La, Oz, Ruritania readily sprang to mind. We agreed that our approach should have to be carefully balanced between the practical and the fantastical. We would take for granted that fiction was fact, and treat the chosen text as seriously as one treats reports of explorers or chronicler, using only the information provided in its original source, with no invention, quote, on our part. Personal comments would be included only if the descriptions called for them, and then only to the extent that one would expect in a normal guidebook. Which, so it's a kind of a wonderful compendium of just like all the different places you might find, and it's kind of set up like a thing, capillary area, Caspar, Comedian's Island, Freeland, Islandia, Lamutha, Meloria Canal. Just all the kind of wonderful different things. I'm pretty sure Hogwarts is in here, which I'm sure is open to all students. Yeah. So a fun book that it's one of these ones that you should put by the put in the bathroom, because you could just flip through it and just enjoy. It sort of reminds me in a way of comic books, that they do a sort of a thing where you have the kind of Marvel guide to superheroes, and they document what superheroes have been able to do, like with their superpowers, and only not like invent anything, but use it as like a guide as well. So a fun book, a fun kind of imaginative book, one that I should thumb through as much as possible. So yeah. I don't know if I've got other Alberto Manguel somewhere else, or if that's sort of what I've kept. I call, but that's a nice little collection. The History of Reading is one that I should pick up and go through again, because I remember enjoying that so much. And Alberto Manguel, actually, what I'd like from him is probably a collection of his essays. Would be really awesome. I should see if that's been called up in the universe somewhere along the way, for someone like me to enjoy and go through, because I really remember enjoying his essays, personal essays on mostly on reading, but just on general stuff as well. All right, that is all of that bookshelf there done. Everything below is. No, there's comic books, but we're going to save comic books for another time. We're going to get through all my books first, and then we'll continue along. All right, bookshelf tour done for today.